Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you. Today, we're going to be speaking with Kristin Daniel, current LSU Tiger Girl choreographer.
Hey, Kristin.
Hey, guys.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start off learning a little bit about you. Tell us how you got involved in this dance team world.
Oh, that was a doozy. I did high school dance team for like a year and a half, and I just decided that wasn't my thing. And then I actually did college dance team for a year, and I was like, this still isn't my thing. But later on, I was like, because I actually started in hip hop. Like I started, like whenever I was choreographing and teaching, I started doing hip hop. And so, but as I like progressed as a choreographer and a teacher, like people started hiring me more for like contemporary and jazz. And I was like, okay, I love this, but hip hop informs so much of my style and my movement quality that I was like, I really kind of want to get back into doing more hip hop stuff. So I was like, I feel like maybe dance teams were a good route to start doing that. So I started doing that, but then when it, if you're kind of talking about more of like the LSU stuff, they actually found me through my studio work, through like my jazz and like contemporary work. So yeah, it's just kind of like everything has all like blended together, and that's kind of how I ended up here. And I still find it so strange whenever people are like, we want you to do like a dance team based class. I'm like, me? Like, I really don't know, that much about it, I feel like, but I feel like I've maybe become a part of the pulse of what is making it feel more commercial and like feeling like those worlds are blended now. So I guess I'm.
Do you think that's why? You think it's because the worlds have kind of come together and they've kind of blended that?
I think so.
It's a great space for you because you have more of, a little bit of both. So
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's one thing that we've noticed is that the two worlds have really come together. Mm-hmm. And it's not so like, black and white. It's like, they're kind of like, they have very similarities going on right now. So that's probably how you've been able to be so successful.
Yeah, because otherwise I feel like, I tell people all the time, I feel like an infant in the dance team world. I'm like, I'm still learning about everything and like, all the staging and stuff like that. Like that's all new to me, but it's like super challenging and super fun. But stylistically, like that's who I am. Like what you see is me. So I think it's pretty cool that, that I've been able to be a part of like the evolution of dance team in that world.
Yeah.
So
tell us about your experience with LSU, because that was such an iconic piece, the first piece that you did for them, and I think that it just caught everybody off guard.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience with that.
To get the job, I had to, go in and teach a class, and I think it was just like immediate like connection. Before Candace even reached out to me, I knew that I was like, these kids, I feel like my style in this program would like work. Mm-hmm. And I've never had any experience with dance team, as I mentioned. So I just kind of went in and, like I said, did my thing. Like I just did my style, and it was like a hit. It was like, okay, yeah, no, this makes sense. And then, so we just started the process of like getting me in to come in and choreograph. And I know a lot of people connect me with LSU, like rightfully so, and like I'm, like yes, that makes sense. But I've been doing this for a very long time, so the only thing that I knew to do was just go in and like do my style, and like I didn't really like, I'm not the formulaic aspect of dance team, like hadn't really like I guess like
Clicked.
Yeah, it hadn't really clicked. It didn't really like sink in like for me to do that. I kind of just knew that I needed like a lot of staging, but like as far as like style wise, I was like, I'm just gonna do me. Yeah. And so that's what everybody ended up saying.
And I don't know when you started, but Alexandra had you choreograph for her for a couple of years, and she loved using you. So was that like when you first started doing dance team, when you worked with her?
Yes, that was, I think you might have been my second year, like I can't remember. Yes, I think you were my second year that I was like starting to choreograph for more like high school and college teams. But LSU was the first team that ever invited me to do jazz. And so yeah, that was just like a wild experience. I played the song for them, like they were losing their minds, and I was just like, I can't even believe they know this song. But, you know, whenever I played the song. I was in the airport, and Candace and I had our FaceTime meeting, and I played the song for Candace, and she was like, oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite songs. Like, I can't believe you're playing this. And I was just like, so is that a yes? Like, can we roll with this? And she was like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's how it all started, and the process was very challenging, but like so amazing, like the caliber of like talent, just the way that Candace runs the program, like just the culture there, it's really second to none. So it was like a really, really inspiring just experience for me, and I feel like that's something that like makes me want to come back. Like, you know, like all the extra stuff like that's nice, but just like being infused and like surrounded by like such like inspiration and like a pure love for dance and like an undeniable culture is like, oh wait, like this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's special. Dance team, they do the dancers have like a nice special connection.
Yeah.
Because they're there for the whole team in general. They're not there ever as individuals.
Yeah.
So, you know, they look out for each other. They make sure that they all look good. Like, nobody's trying to be better than somebody else, because the important thing in dance team is that everybody looks the same, everybody looks good, and so like you're always pushing each other, and I love that about dance team and the dance team world. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Louisiana, in Lafayette, Louisiana. So
you're connected to them, like their culture, or like their...
Yeah, the culture of South Louisiana for sure. I actually went to University of Louisiana, which is in Lafayette, so about an hour away. My dad worked at the university. That's the university I grew up around. So actually getting hired by LSU was like not something that like, you know, was on my bingo card, to be honest, because I was so connected to like my hometown university. But I mean, Candace and like the team have embraced me like so lovingly, and so it's been like such an amazing thing. But yeah, I did actually grow up in Lafayette, Louisiana, which is an hour away from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I feel like your style is perfect for them, because you guys, like, I mean, they're very much a hip hop team, or they're very well known for their hip hop dances and like their hip hop style. Mm-hmm. And bringing you in that your style, yeah, you've done contemporary, you've done hip hop, you've done them both, but like being able to kind of mesh those two worlds together, like you were saying, and like being able to give them a piece or like that style that has that hip hop foundation behind it, I think is like the perfect kind of dance for them.
Yeah.
It's what really helps their like heightened their talent and show off their best skills.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I agree. And it's been fun because, I mean, for me, like, you know, you can see it as like a hip hop foundation, but for me, I just see it as like soul. Like that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's like the soul of dance through my eyes, through my voice. And like, it's just cool that it gets to be, I guess, like executed by them. Like they're the vessels. And I'm just like, wait, y'all get it. Like that's really sick. Like that's cool. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they were never known for being a jazz team. Mm-hmm. Like their hip hop, I mean, it's iconic, all the years of hip hop. So to see how well they did in the jazz, and how well it was received by the judges, by the audience, by other colleges, like everybody was like, wow, what a great piece.
Yeah,
that's so nice, because as a dancer, like you know, you want to be, you know, accepted for what you do, and you want to be appreciated, and okay, I'm doing something different, but everybody doesn't always love when you do something different. It's always a risk.
Yeah.
So it was so nice to see that they did take that risk, and they did do something that was completely off from what, you know, most teams were doing, and they were rewarded for it. I mean, they really, you know, placed their mark in the college jazz world, I think, with that.
Yeah, thank you. I think so too. It's been, I mean, that was a history making routine, which I learned while I was there. I was like, oh, I had no idea about this. Like,
you make history.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. And so, I mean, that was just, it was just really special to be a part of. And I think it's just really special to continue to like impart and infuse a little bit of me like into that program, and like watch it just like come to life through them, because I mean, they're iconic. So.
They are.
Yeah.
And so you were saying that you didn't do that much of dance team. So how did you train, and what did you do in your training years?
Well, you know, I grew up at your typical tap jazz studio, but my mom at a like pretty early age realized that I wasn't probably getting like the ballet training that I needed, because they didn't have the program for it. So she actually put me in a ballet school. So I went to It was called the Ballet Studio. I went there. I think I was maybe like 7 or 8 when I started, and I was like a bunhead, I trained at Dance Theater of Harlem on scholarship in New York whenever I was 10. So like I stayed with the host family and everything, like away from my parents, and I, did that route, and I trained at ABT. And then, I had my heart set on being a ballerina, and then after ABT, I went to a Juilliard audition, like for their summer program, and I didn't get in. And I watched someone who, you can always tell whenever someone, isn't maybe as technically proficient as you. We're all dancers. We all compare ourselves, like, in the moment. But I think I just learned at that time, like, people had their certain, body types or just body types and things like that. But yes, maybe connections too. But I think I learned really quickly that I was like not going to be a prima ballerina. So I was like, I should probably like lean in a little bit more to the commercial side, and I did. And so yeah, I just kept training. Like, I was a convention rat, as they say. Like, that's the world I grew up in, studios and conventions. So I was just on weekends, any weekend that I could, just training with, all the industry pros that were on the road. And yeah, that's kind of how, that led me to booking my first job, assisting some of the most like well-known, renowned choreographers in the industry, and then moving out to LA with a job. So that, all of that set me up for everything. But yeah, I definitely started out as wanting to be a ballerina, and quickly realized that was probably
I think that happened to most of us. When I was young, ballet was the main thing, and everybody wanted to be a prima ballerina, and you just imagine yourself with those point shoes.
Yes.
And then when you don't have that perfect extension and your feet are not as beautiful as others, you do find a different route. But it's important that you understand the foundation of ballet, how important that is, and you use it to find other avenues in dance. And so it's great that you were able to do that, because some kids, like, they get shut off. They're like, forget it, I didn't get into Juilliard, I never want to dance again. And it's important that you understand everybody's not meant to go into Juilliard. Everybody's not meant to be an ABT and professionally ballet dancing, but that there's still a place for you.
No, for sure.
And that's one of the things that we try to advocate here, is that if you really want to dance, there is a place, and you just gotta find what's the path for you and what you can do with dance in your life. And it's great to see how much you've been able to do.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's honestly very important for like kids, I think, to hear nowadays, because I think that there are so many things that they can do. They get overwhelmed, but then if they don't get the thing that they want, they shut down. And it's like, whoa, just recalibrate, like, just, get realigned, like, maybe that path wasn't for you. I'm a believer, and I always say, like, rejection is God's protection. So I think I use that in my life personally, and that's why I'm sitting here talking with you guys today. So I think that's really great that you said that. So hopefully kids will
listen to that. I hope so too.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at doing now? So you're still choreographing for dance teams, but are there other things that you do besides that?
Well, yes, I don't actually do a lot of dance teams. LSU, it takes a good chunk of time, and I love spending my time there, but I do a lot of studio work. I'm getting into more of like, I'm swaying. I was told not to sway. I'm getting into more like traveling and teaching, wanting to do more like convention style stuff. Because like I said, that's what I grew up in. So I definitely want to get back into that world and give back as an educator in that space. A little over a year ago, I directed and choreographed my first music video. So that like ignited something in me like I'd never experienced before. So I was like, oh, that's something I should be doing. Like, that's what I need. It's like directing. I'm like, oh, I want to direct now.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of things on the on the horizon in the future, I feel. So, yeah.
Do you have like a home base, like that you, like a studio that you teach at all the time?
Funny that you mentioned that. I think, well, basically, so I had a pre-professional company, and I just recently closed it after 5 great seasons, and I'm very like grateful for that. But I think now moving into this next chapter, before I even did that, I was actually like doing a residency at a studio in Ohio. And so I'm kind of revisiting that idea again and doing that for certain studios, or not certain studios, but several studios. Just kind of doing like a once a month or once every words are hard. Once every other month thing with studios that want to have me in. So kind of getting back into that. But as of now, I don't technically like have a studio home base. I just kind of, I just go where I'm needed and and
wander.
I do. I wander, and I think I'll probably, a little relocation is probably on the horizon.
Well, Miami's a great place to move to.
Come down.
I know everybody's trying to convince me.
There's so many things to do here in Miami. I
Yeah.
mean, it's expensive, but I think we could keep you busy.
Yeah. Well, hey, I like to be busy. I haven't been home in over a month, so I know.
Amazing.
I know. Very, very blessed and fortunate, but busy doesn't scare me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you've obviously done a lot. You've gone through different avenues in dance, touched on many of them. If you could offer one piece of advice to kids who are looking to, that they're still not sure what they want to do. Maybe they want to go into dance team. Maybe they want to go into professional dance. Maybe they want to do commercial. What is it that you what piece of advice would you offer them to maybe be successful in that?
Keep training. Never stop training. Studio training. I'm a firm believer in that. I do think that for kids that want to be more commercial, I definitely say get into as many convention rooms as you can. The people that either have the power to hire you or know the people that will hire you are more often than not teaching you in those convention ballrooms. So I think do your research. If you know a certain job that you want to do or movies that you want to like dance in those types of movies or TV shows that you're like, oh, I want to do that. Like for me, I danced on Glee. So if I were a kid and there was something like that on TV, I'd be like, oh, like that's a job that I would want to have. You need to find that choreographer. You need to see if they're teaching on convention or if there are any classes that you can pop into, or even if there are any dancers that do work with them that are teaching class, and like you can kind of like, you know what I mean, just kind of the more that your face is out there, the better. And then for dance team, I think studio training is what it is. Like I think that's where you need to be, and I definitely think that if your dance team is aligned with like what you want to do, like as far as like if you want to be competitive or if you prefer like game day sideline stuff, then like absolutely do that, but make sure you keep training in studio. So that's like my biggest advice.
What do you tell like the dancer who is in college dance team, but there's no studios really?
Yeah.
But they know they want to continue dancing, but they have they're in college. Mm-hmm. How do you tell them like what can they do to continue training and get their name out there for their professional life?
As a dancer?
Yeah. Because it's not easy. Like when you're on dance team, it's not easy to connect the two worlds, but a lot of them want to continue dancing, whether it's going to NFL Pro, NBA, or the commercial world. It's a hard path for them.
Yeah. I think any break that you have, you should find time to take at least 1 to 2 classes, depending on how many weeks you're off. Like you need to be in somebody's class, especially if commercial is the route that you want to go afterwards. I think if you want to start like teaching and choreographing, of course you just need to like submit like yourself to studios, maybe like get on somebody's like teaching staff, for the season, try to get some of your work out there. But I mean, I mostly would say be in class, like at professional studios, like go to playground, go to, like, you know what I mean? Go and take class. You have to immerse yourself in those environments in order to see if, A, it's really something that you want to do and a place that you want to be in and something that you like. And B, just to, like, start to connect with people out there. Because, I mean, the industry is all about connections and who you know, and talent is sprinkled in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's true. And I think it's like that with almost every career, in that it is who you know, and you put your face out there, and you've got that connection that's going to get you in the door. I mean, after that, the talent will keep you there, but it's who you know. So and I think the kids at LSU are really lucky. There's other colleges just as lucky in that their dance teams are training, and they're bringing these big guest choreographers and guest teachers to come in and work with them. But every dance team doesn't have that. Mm-hmm. So those kids struggle a little bit more, and they do need to find a way, whether it's in the summer or on their off season, to be able to keep training and finding how can I take some classes in these big convention styles.
Yeah, and I mean, really, like, you're gonna be hard pressed to come across some of these choreographers, like, not in a convention room. Like, you if you want to take class from Trisha, like, you probably need to go to Radix. Like, try to find a city where she's at Radix. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Brian. Like, all of those people, I assisted all of them. So, like, I fully believe, like, that's, they're some of the ones that you need to be training under. But that's just an example. Like, if you want to work with Trisha, you probably need to get into her class, and the easiest way to get into her class is at a dance convention. And I know it's probably not always the easiest given everything they have with their schedules, like football, basketball, baseball, like, everything that they have to, make appearances for. But there's time to at least try to do one. So that's my biggest I think piece of advice is to get into a convention room if you can.
And it's hard when you're in college because these conventions don't have college level or college age classes. Like, it's a senior room. Mm-hmm. And so you're taking class with 17-year-old, 16-year-old, and you're 22. Like, you're more mature, your movement is different. So it's hard when you're a little bit older to get into those conventions.
You're making me think of, because I trained at the Pulse, so that's where I assisted.
They were great.
Brian, Cassandra, everybody, Tice, and they had a pro room, so everybody that either felt like they were ready to be in the pro room or like 18 and up, like, that's who the room was geared towards. And I do feel like you make such a great point. I think conventions could maybe venture into that a little bit and, like, create a space for those kids that are in college or, like, in between, and want to go pro or just want to keep training, and, like, have a space for them to, like, just be the young adults that they are.
Yeah. And have the opportunity to take class from these amazing people, because they might not have the opportunity every weekend, but that one weekend that they do, oh my God, I would love to take class from them. It's just I'm with 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds.
Yeah, it gets a little tough. But no, I wish that was something that carried over into other conventions, like, but it kind of never did.
Yeah. We're so focused on younger kids, which is great. Like, we're focusing on building them up, but what happens once they're built? Then where do we go? What do we do? And I think that's, I feel like that's part of the reason why we even started this podcast in the first place. It's people don't understand enough of the routes they can take, the directions they can go, what can they do to get there. And if educators, or at least like the people that are hosting these conventions, had a better understanding of what it is that these dancers need once they have graduated from high school, dancers' careers could last so much longer. They wouldn't stop at 35. Maybe they could last until much later as a dancer. And so many more doors would be open to them.
And even dance education, I feel like, would have a little bit more longevity, like, because once they graduate, they're like, okay, what do I do now? And so if they were to, open up those doors and, like, create a space just for those kids, like, the longevity of their education would be, like, amazing. It was probably good, though. So I'm sad about it. No, I'm kidding.
It's funny, even here in Miami, there isn't a space for college kids to go.
Really?
There isn't.
That shocks me.
Yeah.
Right, and we're a big hub for
Yeah.
where artists come to recruit dancers to go on tour with them and things like that, and there really isn't.
There isn't. I mean, Millennium tried to open up here years ago,
Okay.
and it was in the wrong place. Like they didn't really open up in a good location, so it closed down. But you won't find like adult advanced classes that easy.
We had
like,
Showstoppers here for a little bit.
Yeah, and then sometimes NFL Pro. Showstopper is a studio, and the owner that runs it, she was a Miami Heat dancer, so she's experienced in that world, and she brings great artists, and she teaches more adult type classes. But that's it. Like that's all there is here in Miami.
Yeah.
So these dancers, they need to find places to go, and it's not that easy. And then it costs a lot.
I was just about to say that. I was like,
Yeah, because
it does
dancers,
cost to train.
right? It takes a lot of time for dancers to really start making good money, if they ever do.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
don't, but on top of the fact that you're probably making no money in the beginning of when you're first starting to, when you get out of high school, you're also having to pay all of the money that you're probably making to take these classes.
Well, I don't know if that's the only reason why, but I think maybe why some of these kids are starting to teach younger and younger, because it's like the secret's out that like teaching and choreographing is a great way to make money as like in the dance space. But then they run into this like issue of like, well, I don't want to be just seen as a choreographer or a teacher yet. Like I'm a dancer, and so it's like trying to balance like those worlds. But
Cash, when we had her on here, made a really good point that dancers are some of the few. It's probably one of the only jobs you ever have that you've had a resume since you were like 3 years old.
That's
you have
a great
experience
point,
since that age, and the fact that it takes a lot of. Well, the fact that they graduate from high school and automatically they have to make all of these huge decisions for their careers and, figure out where it is that they want to go, what they want to do, what should it be? They need to start making money right now. That's a huge thing that I feel like not a lot of people, unless you're a dancer, can really relate to. And now with all of the opportunities that there are out there, I think that now kids are starting to see like, how can I tap into this? What can I do? Now they're doing more research. Now there's more opportunities. So it's interesting the way that things are now starting to evolve, but hopefully it'll open up a little bit more for kids, for it to just be more accessible.
Yeah.
Because I think accessibility
and with
is
social media that these kids are posting like, video of something that I choreographed or a video of me dancing, it's giving them exposure so that these other studios and these other places are like looking at them and saying, oh, I want you to come teach, or I want you to choreograph. So it does help them. But it's hard too, because you're not going to get 10 hours a day or anything like that. You're going to get 1 hour, 2 hours a day. So you're making good money per hour, but you're just not getting as many hours as you probably need to live. So I think that that's what they are coming across and trying to figure out, like, what route do I take? How do I make money? I want to be professional, but, I need to still take class. How do I pay for the classes? It's, it's a juggle.
Yeah, well, I was at Radix Nationals last year, and I was sitting in the room during the agency talk, or the agency audition, then they had a talk after, and, they were asking questions like, how do we make it work, like, to survive? And I think Trisha actually was one of the ones that got on the mic, and she was like, you might have to get a job. Like, I had a job, I think she said she had a waitressing job. And so it's like, if this is something that you really want, it's not an easy life. But it's like, you also have to be prepared that might be something that you have to do. You might have to get another job until, like, I've been doing this for a long time. My first, like, professional job was whenever I just turned 18. Well beyond that now, but so I think I've gone through a lot of the earning your stripes, and so I think maybe sometimes kids are feeling like that step doesn't apply to them, or like they can skip that step, and some people do. Like, everybody's path is different, but others may have to take a little bit longer to earn those stripes and to get that more consistent work, and to build up their resume to where they can just be teaching or choreographing or dancing. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but, if it's something that you really love, you kind of just have to, double down and do it.
Well, and now it's so easy to get a remote job. So you could have a job that remote, and that you still have that flexibility of, as long as I hit my hours of what I need to do and I get my job done, you know, I could do it from over here, I could do it from over there, and you've got that flexibility where 10, 15 years ago you didn't have that.
Absolutely.
So,
and all these kids are like, edit. I'm like, listen, I will pay someone to edit my entire life. Like I am like please, like, you know what I mean? So that's like a remote job where it's like you could just be editing people's social media or like, you know, just doing like little flyers, or like I know people that pay very like good money like that, you know, to do something that you could probably be doing on Canva and like on a plane to your next job, and like you can pocket a little extra change. So it's definitely doable. It's not easy, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah, you just gotta be a go-getter.
Yeah. And it's important for you not to give up on the things that you want and ultimately see yourself doing, because it's really easy to fall into the now I'm teaching class and, you know, things aren't really working out, so gotta stick to this. Like if you have this dream, it's there for a reason. So continue trying to pursue it, but you have to put in the work to get there.
Yeah.
You can't just expect that things are just going to fall into place. For some it might, like you said, but for others
it's some, I mean, I don't want to say this generation because I think it happens in every generation, but things come easy to kids nowadays. You know, they've grown up with technology, they've grown up with all these things. It's just given to them. It's just so much easier. They don't have to do the work for it. Like I remember when I would have to go to the library to do a research project, I would have to go to like the card catalog.
She was born in the Stone Age.
You were saying this at dinner the other day. Do you remember?
Well, no, I don't remember, but I
you were saying that. You're like, I used to have to, because we were talking about like research papers and like,
oh my God, yes.
And you're like, I used to have to go to the library.
To the card catalog.
She won't let that ever live down. We've had conversations one-on-one where she would reprimand me and be like, I had to go to the library.
And then walk the whole library to find the book and then see it's not there. Somebody already took it out. To go walk back over there, find the next one.
So much work.
You're like so the Dewey Decimal System. Like me and him, like we were together.
So you see that, you know, took time. Now you don't need to do that. ChatGPT. What do I need? Okay, let me redo it.
I didn't even have ChatGPT.
No, but you see how it's progressed.
We do now.
And things are so much easier for each generation. I get that other things are harder, but things are easier. Be a go-getter. Like, I don't have to do all that. I just have to do this. Now I have all this extra time. Let me go out there and let me like really work. Let me find this. Let me find that. You know, be that kind of kid that people want to work with you because you're going to make it happen, not expect for it to happen. And I think that that's something that we're kind of falling across, is that people are just expecting things to be thrown on their lap. Here you go, have this. And that might happen. You might get lucky. I might be walking down the street and somebody might be like, oh my God, you're that perfect look. You're exactly what I want on my commercial. Let's go. I mean, you could, but the chances of that happening is 1 in a million. You know, you've got to go out there and you've got to work for it. And I think that that's kind of like the disconnect that we have going on right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunately like a little bit of entitlement that I just, you know, if we could just take a step back and recognize it and correct it, I think a lot of those things that, you know, people are yearning to have happen will happen a lot, you know, easier, because it's like, oh, I need to have a corrective like behavior right here and not feel like I'm owed this or like it should be happening right now. And then, you know, and we all fall, you know, are guilty of it every now and then,
and you might be owed it, but you know, whatever. You
just got to keep going. Exactly. You just got to keep going until all the stars align, and they will. Like, whatever's like meant for you, like no person on earth can take away.
Absolutely.
Like, can get in the way of that. So, but yeah, I do think that everything feels so immediate. So there maybe is like a feeling of like failure a little bit whenever it doesn't happen. It's like, that's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
I know, you're right. Because they expect it to happen right now and it doesn't, they feel, oh, okay, forget it, I can't. And then they walk away and, okay, you got to try. You've got to like, you know, okay, get past that. And I think that that's something that, at least when I was young, dancers had very, very thick skin because they were just so used to rejection. It was like constant. Whether it was rejected as being a ballerina, you know, you've got thick thighs, you're never going to be a ballerina. You're like, okay, well, let me move on.
That was me.
That was me.
That would have been me had I been trying to be a ballerina.
Or you don't have that perfect extension, or, you know, whatever it is, and then, okay, forget it, I'm just not going to try. No. There's things you can do. Like, you could keep going.
Yeah.
Don't give up, you know. grow that thick skin and just move on, because at some point it's going to pay off, and you're going to get that perfect job or that perfect opportunity, that perfect dance team, that perfect, coach or whatever, and it will happen. But you can't give up, and you can't be like, oh my God, poor me, because the poor me is just not going to get you anywhere.
Well, and while you're saying that, somebody else is putting in the work. So, it's like you got to pick your battles. But no, I completely agree. And I think work ethic to me is still one of the most inspiring things about a person. Like, if your work ethic is second to none, then I just have so much respect for you. And I know that whatever you want is going to be there for you. At the end of whatever your journey is, you know, or whatever your journey is in this chapter of life, So I think a little hard work never hurt nobody.
Never. I mean, I've watched kids when they were in middle school, and they were semi-talented, but they weren't the best ones. But they were the ones with the passion and that work ethic, and they were at every class, and they went to every convention. They did what they needed to do, and by the time they get to my senior year with me, I'm looking at this growth, because those are growing years. When you're talking about being 13 years old to being 17, 18 years old, as a dancer, you're really, really changing. And you watch that there's a dancer that was super talented and just kind of stayed, and they didn't really go too far. Yeah, they went up a little bit, they didn't really move. And then you'll see somebody else who semi-talented, but their work and constant pushing themselves just blew them out. And those are the ones that are successful. And I see it. I see the kids that, they've kept dancing, and they're the ones that did that. The ones that were just relying on their talent stopped.
No, for sure. I always say it's I would prefer to work with someone who wasn't as talented but was hungry. If you're hungry, I can work with that. If you're in there with me, if you're in it with me, if you're present, if you're convicted, I can work with that. But if you're just talented and you're kind of aloof, then that's really hard. It's really hard to connect to that personally. So how are we going to create something?
Causes more work for you if they're not doing their part. So why would you want that? Nobody. There's no choreographer, no dance, nobody that wants to work with people who are not hard workers, because at the end it's going to fall on you. I mean, that happens in any job or anything that you do. They put you in a project with people, and that one works and that one doesn't, and that means I'm going to have to pick up the slack, because I'm going to want it to be great. So that's something that has to be instilled in these kids at a very young age, is that don't think that things are going to be given to you. You've got to work, even when you know, okay, it's mine, you still got to work. You got to work harder than everybody else in the room.
Absolutely. Well, and one of the first conventions that I was connected to was LA Dance Magic, way back in the day. And
do they still exist?
I think so.
Because they don't come to Miami.
Oh, they don't?
I don't think so, right? They don't come to Miami. I remember them back in the day, but I don't think they come here.
Jackie Slight has had a hand in training so many of the, renowned choreographers that everybody knows and loves today. Jackie Slight has always said, happy to be here, easy to work with. And that is something that has stuck with me forever, because it's no matter what you're given, within reason, of course, safely, but no matter what you're given, I got it. That should be the energy that you're giving to any choreographer, to any teacher, to any space that you're in, is happy to be here, easy to work with, because that's whenever you're going to be invited back. That's whenever you're going to get the next job. That's whenever you're going to connect with all the people that you should be connecting with, and those are going to be your peers, and you guys are going to start to, choreograph and create the next projects and jobs and things like that. So I just think good work ethic, good energy, good presence.
Yeah, that's important. That's a good point, because if you don't have good energy, people don't want to be around you. You want to be around people who are going to make you better, and you want to be around people who are more positive. I know when she was young, I would, that was one thing. It's you've got to be with people who are going to make you better.
Absolutely.
Your friends got to make you better. They can't bring you down. And that's something so important that, that we don't really think about. But if you have bad energy, nobody wants to be with you.
Yeah, and bringing someone else down because their light is shining a little bit, you know what I mean? That's not a friend.
No.
If you find yourself doing that, you need to check yourself a little bit and be wait. I should be bigging my friends up. I should be so I think I don't know, dance requires us to be selfish and selfless at the same time. And I think whenever we lean into a little bit more of the selflessness is where the magic really
Well, I think
happens.
the selfishness needs to come into what do you need as a dancer. So, like, am I at a studio that is not offering me anything? Like, have I outgrown the studio I'm at? Do I need to go somewhere else? Do I, if I'm in the back of the room in a convention, am I serving my talent? Like, am I doing what I need to do for myself? No, I should be pushing myself to the front. Selfishness comes from that, where the selflessness comes from, like, being willing to learn from other people and being willing to be humble enough to learn from everybody else. So, yeah, definitely be selfish in your training, but be selfless in what you put out there for everybody to see and with the people that you're with.
That was a great point,
No,
Alexandra.
that is a great point.
So proud of you.
And I think it's just as important to know that as easily as someone can inspire you is as easily as you can inspire someone else. So just always being in a space of continuous giving and continuous learning and continuous just gratitude for the gift of dance that we know and love is the way to go.
Yeah, because you never know who you are inspiring, really.
Truly.
Who's watching you, who's going to go and say that one, or I want to be like them, or I want to work with them. So, especially with social media.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know when you're being filmed. You never know when you're going to come out on something. So, yeah, you've got to be a good person.
No, for sure. That's been a big eye-opener for me because, I mean, obviously LSU has opened up a whole new world for me, and I think just the amount of people that have reached out to me and just saying how much I'm an inspiration, all that stuff, that really matters to me. I read every single one of those messages, I reply to every single person, it's just really beautiful that our art form,
she was talking about you before LSU. Before LSU, she was Kristin
all
Daniel.
hail Kristin.
Yeah.
All hail Kristin.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're so busy, and it's actually this was my schedule prior to LSU. I mean, is the demand a little bit more? Yeah, but I've had the same summer schedule for years now. I'm I should probably slow down a little bit, but
no, you don't want to because
I know.
the minute you slow down, then that's it. It's hard to pick up from there.
Literally,
so
I took
enjoy
a day
it.
off yesterday, and I could not sleep. I was this is what happens when I slow down. It's I literally can't do anything but sleep because I know how tired I am.
I know. You're fortunate to be busy because there's so many dancers and choreographers that are not as fortunate. So you've got to grab it and love it.
That's why I do it. I'm that's why I do it. I love traveling. I love getting to connect with people, even familiar faces and studios and teams and stuff like that, and getting to connect with new people that really fuels my fire. That, I love that. I hope I never stop doing that.
Well, she always talked how lucky she was that she had you. So
Aww.
yeah,
We've kept the friendship.
I know.
close.
I was and then
kept
and then
it
we're
tight.
Yeah, we've become friends. So I'm love you. So yeah.
Well, Kristin, it's been so awesome to have you here. I think that people, they know you because of LSU, but there is so much more about you. And, it's great that they're able to see how much they can get from you. And all these dancers, if they need something, it's easy to find you on social media. So, let them know how they could find you if they want jobs or if they...
Well, if they want jobs. No, I love it. Let me just wipe my eyeballs I'm weeping. I don't understand. But you can find me on social media. Instagram is at Kristin Daniel, Kristin. And then my TikTok is Kristin.Daniel. So yeah, just reach out to me. Keep reaching out to me. It takes me a little while to get back to DMs sometimes,
but she does.
Yeah, but I do.
And we're excited to see what you do this year with LSU. We're very excited, so we can't wait. It's going to be iconic, I'm sure.
Thank you. I think so. I hope so. I mean, just going to put good energy and do me.
It's going to be amazing. We'll be there. We'll be there in the audience cheering.
Love it.
And to our audience, thank you so much for being with us here today with Kristin. It was amazing talking with her and hearing all about her experiences.
And if you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to click on our link tree in our bio and fill out our Google form.
See you next week. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.